Hi guys, I'm here with Ken from Studying Psychic Abilities. He has a YouTube channel and he has interviewed a bunch of, I I guess you would call them like masters, like Qigong masters and other martial art practitioners and people who are doing telekinesis and well, actually all kinds of psychic abilities. So it's going to be interesting to talk about to talk with Ken because he's like a master researcher. He's like the curator who finds all the really amazing obscure people and puts them in one place, and it's a really interesting channel to check out. So welcome aboard, Ken. Hey. All right, Ken. So tell us a little bit how you got on this journey, like why you started this YouTube channel, and what practices you follow yourself.
So I technically grew up Buddhist, so I guess I've always kind of been on a spiritual journey. I'm from Japan. Um, Parents were in, well, my dad was in the Air Force and stuff. So I went to Buddhist school. So I've technically always been Buddhist, but like I don't know really much about Buddhism, honestly. I just kind of, it's just something that I was a part of. Always, that's why you know, I've always kept this, bald head and stuff. But yeah, I went to Buddhist school and stuff when I was in Japan. Um, my real spiritual journey, I would say, began around the time I started researching conspiracy theories when I was around 20. Yeah, I got into like 9/11 stuff, and then like, that led to like um yeah, that led to like, the 2012 thing going, the
Right.
2012 conspiracy to Nibiru, the Planet X and all that kind of jazz. And then that led to like the Thrive movement, into eventually that conspiracy led me to like, other, alternative theories like flat Earth and Tartaria and yada yada. Um so along the way, I found like other interesting stuff like DMT, spirit molecules, and stuff like that, and other alternative ideas like the New Age, concept of like meditation and their version of it and stuff, and all this stuff kind of like led to like me looking into like all this like alternative thinking kind of stuff, but also around the same time I was looking into like conspiracy theories, like the law of attraction or like the manifesting type of stuff was like, booming like, around the new age scene.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really got into that initially. And I was just thinking to myself, like, man, like there's gotta be more to it than just like positive thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like there's gotta be more to it than just thinking positively and it'll come to you, because I tried that and nothing's happening. So I started doing some serious research, and I came across a channel called, I think it's called We Are Creators, or yeah, it's like, I think it's called We Are Creators. Or yeah, something like that. I don't know, but I think it's still out there. But they had a interview with a gentleman named Dr. Joe Gallenberger from the Monroe Institute. And this gentleman was teaching telekinesis. And so I started looking into him. And I was like, telekinesis, that's interesting. Like, I never thought that was even like a thing, So I started looking into Dr. Gallenberger's work, and I typed in on YouTube telekinesis, and that just totally changed my world. And then I found like other telekinetics like Michael Grove, Michael Monk, Trevor Seven. And yeah, just I found this telekinesis niche or industry, and that led to eventually looking into Qigong and Bocce and so on. And you mentioned that you're, a fan of Steve Gray. Yeah, I looked into Steve Gray stuff and other Qigong people. Um, and yeah, as far as like me podcasting goes, I mean, I initially started posting actually on Facebook my telekinesis results. Nothing impressive at all, just like simple stuff with side wheels and stuff. But that kind of, that wasn't really getting much hits. And I was thinking to myself, like, because I always wanted to do some type of social media work. And I was just thinking to myself, man, this is man, like what can I do? What can a nobody like me do? And then I thought to myself, well, I can't really teach this stuff because I'm a nobody. So what can I do? So I thought, well, maybe I can interview people. So let's just try that out and see where that goes. And I started a telekinesis dedicated like podcast practically, and it was only in this super small niche, but and it wasn't like big at all, but it just people just loved it, and people started saying like I only had like 100 subscribers, but what was weird was just I had these core fans, and like these core fans just loved this so much they just said like, dude, there's nothing like this out there, and you have the perfect personality for it. Just please keep going. I love your work. And I was like, I don't know, like I'm not good at talking. I'm horrible at explaining stuff. I'm just awful at this, but you guys want me to do it? Sure. So even though I quit numerous times over the last few years, I just kept going and going and going. And yesterday I finally reached 2K subscribers. So sorry for that.
Yeah, but
I think that was a little too long of
no,
an
it's
intro,
good.
but
I think what I appreciate about you is that like even when you're in interviews, you come at it with such a realness. It's like these are all like you're like they're like all like kind of like proper, and you're just like, really, you did I mean, I think it's like
Yeah.
what's the coolest psychic ability you've been able to do, this and that, and they're like, oh
Yeah.
well, I watched your Grandmaster Wolf one yes, a couple of days ago, and I just feel like you give an energy that's like more childlike and more play-like than they're probably ever used to. And it's I think it helps people's ego. I like it
Yeah.
helps them get out of their ego to be like, okay, yeah, this is like a real human that just wants to know some real shit. And so that's what I appreciate about you, and I think that's cool. And Joaquin's like a big fan of you. So yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I appreciate.
Yeah.
I mean, like like I said, I'm really nothing special at all, and I'm a nobody. But like yeah,
I don't think though you should say that because you just definitionally that you're connected to all these people. That's
You're a mind stone.
you're very much connected to like super powerful wizards. Um, so I think that that's like an interdimensional reptilian saying telling you shit because you're connected to all these people. So it's like you have a mind stone right here.
Yeah.
That's connected to literally like Steve Gray, the Dahlia, who I'm also a big fan of, and like everything, just what the whole community is trying to like really actually do, and not even like in a telekinesis way, but you're interviewing people about like the rainbow body in Buddhism, right? And then it's just like that is entering our matrix is very important, even if it's niche. That inside of our matrix, even if it's like, oh, only 2K subscribers, that's huge. If 2,000 people instantly right now knew about like just the concept of
Could
a rainbow
actually
body,
activate their rainbow body, then that would
right?
be
It's like this is a progression of I feel like consciousness. So I feel like no, you're actually pivotal. I feel like those that's like I feel like you're just getting attacked psychically probably by crap.
I mean, but also I think you're like I said, like you're an amazing curator in that um like we are always talking about like we're always wanting to like improve our psychic skills or improve like our this kind of stuff. But then I'm like looking at your channel, I'm like, who's the girl you just talked to? I can't remember her name on, but like she's a super lovely Australian girl
You
who
can live
does
the metal. I forget her name.
she
oh, Brie,
magnetizes. What?
Brie.
Brie,
Yeah.
yeah, Brie, like super cool chick. Like it's so nice to have like Chris Fazio and like Alex Steffen and all. You have like so many, or the dude who doesn't show his face, who's like the Irish guy.
Yeah, the booty. I saw the video when he did, and then you're like, oh, I have to cover it up. He doesn't want to be known.
Yeah, I mean these are all like
Man, you guys really watch my stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
crazy.
bro.
It's crazy. I mean, yeah, I'm just so honored that people actually watch my stuff, and I don't know what to say sometimes.
well, I mean,
No.
it's good. The materials were really cool because it's like I think like we live in such like an NPC kind of like very stifled world, right? Where we're just meant to think that we have all these limitations. And you're talking to people who are super humble, who just have
Mhm.
defied these limitations and are cool. They're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, yeah, I can do that, but whatever. And then, yeah, and yeah, so that's cool. So what's going on with or do you still personally try yourself to use these exercises to like try to get psychic powers yourself?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys, not really, because there along the way I have learned that there's some serious consequences to doing this type of stuff. You have to cultivate a lot of energy and you have to cultivate it the proper way in order to like, actually, you know, exert the energy out in order to try to affect the outer world. So like, in my case, a lot of people try to move side wheels or like influence like, any type of object. It takes a lot of energy out of you, and some masters have reportedly died. Some practitioners have reportedly died, and so and there's a lot of, even if you're not doing quote unquote telekinesis, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that just did energy work, just even cultivating energy the improper way, that died. So I I'm very careful about like what I'm practicing nowadays, and I'm really if I'm being honest, about a year or two ago, I kind of made a conscious decision that I wasn't too sure if I want to do this anymore. And around that time, I found like a yin school, which what that means is basically, it's more of a softer approach school where you put energy in the body in a very gentle, soft way, and that's been my focus. But like even if you're doing it in a very soft, gentle way, I mean, like even then it can be, sometimes like really harmful because if especially if you come from a background where you're used to intensity and stuff. Like I come from a martial arts background and stuff. So like when you're used to just too much intensity, it's just hard to adapt to this type of thinking, And so I say all this to say like yes, I do want to do energy work. Yes, I do want to advance, but at the same time, like I'm aware of the repercussions. So
Mm.
I'm not sure where I want to go. And I know like, well, you want me to keep going or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
like I have.
and honestly, like I know this may surprise people and this may sound kind of crazy to people, but um, I recently came across a person who went to who is associated with a monk in Mount Athos in Greece. It's a Christian, Orthodox Christian thing, and I'm not gonna necessarily be like a traditional Christian that's like, closed-minded, that's, all devoted to like or closed-minded and only like can, see things from a narrow view. Like I'm definitely not gonna be that type of person because I know far too much. But as far as like practices are concerned, as far as my spiritual path is concerned, I mean, I'm considering going down a much more righteous route. I'm going considering going down a much more, lack of a better word, religious route. Because
Like to
like
be a
I've
monk.
heard some crazy stories of like monks that are basically like immortals and like they're basically just doing some like crazy superpower stuff, and what they're practically doing is just focusing on being super righteous and like eating very healthy, and like they do a lot of prayer. They don't even meditate as far as I know. And so that's the type of route that I want to go down. And because obviously I don't want to hurt myself, and so I know this might surprise people like, what, you're going to be religious? Like, no, not exactly, but I'm thinking about taking a religious approach. I'm also even learning about, some Nigung people that are switching over to Sufism, which is like Islamic.
Yeah.
But obviously not like, becoming like a, conventional Islamic person. They're, becoming a, you know, they're just adapting the good qualities of the religion. So if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, they're taking the esoteric teachings that were hidden in, that sect of Sufism that was had to be hidden away, and then they're just integrating it to their practice. So I totally
Yeah,
get you.
yes.
Yeah.
That's the approach I feel like is calling me right now. I never would have thought that I'll become quote unquote religious, but that's kind of what I'm considering doing. But
I'm
Well,
it's kind of
I've
it's interesting because I have a friend who was like a monk, but I think it was a Buddhist monk, but I'm not really sure. I think it was Buddhist monk. For like whenever you have a guru, so like if they have a guru, it's I think it's Buddhism. Anyway, he became a Buddhist like late teens, and then like got out of it because his guru died when he was in his 50s. And he said to me, like in a completely straight face, like he's not joking at all, like he would have no reason to lie to me. He's like, oh yeah, a lot of my friends are like 400 or 500 years old. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well yeah, they would just like when they would go into the cave, and then like they would get another 50 years, and then and I was like, okay, explain this to me. And I was like, do they do certain prayers? Do they do certain practices? He's like, no, no, you have to, it's about darkness. You have to be in absolute pure darkness for, um, he said 3 weeks at the time. He said, I think 21 days, but you can't do it until you're 50 years old. So he said when they go into the cave at 50 years old, and they said they would go in together and, like whatever, bring like instruments and have like, I don't even think they had a lot of food, but a little bit, and water and stuff. And they would basically stay in there for 21 days, and then when they would come out, their cells would start reverse. They would like become Merlin. They would start reversing age for about 25 years. They'd become 25, then it would wear off, and they'd go back to being 50 again. And then I was like, well, why can't you go after 50 or whatever? He's like, well, you can't go before 50 because you have to be at least 25 years old, or otherwise it starts fucking up your organs. So it was like, so 50 was the youngest you could go into the cave. Other than that, but it only really,
Because you'd basically be too young when
you'd
you
be
come
too
back
young, and it would
because you
start
wouldn't fully
messing up
develop. Yeah.
your
Yeah.
organs and stuff, and it wouldn't always like work out right when you come back. And he said that, and that's how they, and I was like, well, why didn't you go into the cave? And he's like, ugh, life's hard enough. I'm not gonna like try to figure out how to support myself for another 50 years. Like he was like, yeah,
Um,
he's like, I didn't want to be that old.
which country is this?
Well, it was in China. And what have you personally seen with your eyes? Has anybody ever demonstrated anything to you that you're being like, oh, okay,
As far like something paranormal?
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, one thing that I can prove without a shadow of a doubt is it's on my YouTube channel. Journal of the Jedi Antonio Telekinesis has moved my psi wheel over the internet. It's still on my YouTube channel. So that's that was impressive. Like he's like, yeah, I'll move it over the internet. And so he did it. So I mean there's people that,
Mhm.
walk,
You mean like over
people
Zoom?
people that talk, but like, but there's no one that can walk the walk. So he's a prime example of someone that can back up, what he says he can do. So
Wait,
yeah, that was
who is
pretty
that?
impressive. Sorry?
What's his name again?
Uh Antonio Telekinesis, Journal of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I had not watched that episode yet.
Yeah, so then kind of sort of switching gears, then what sort of conspiracy, because you talked about like you were kind of down the rabbit holes of conspiracies. What sort of conspiracies are you into, like the reptilian stuff, any sort of like all of that sort of the interdimensional side of things and how that sort of
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really into conspiracy theories because I don't really believe in being a victim. I watch it more for entertainment, honestly. But I mean, I do believe conspiracies are real. But at the same time, I also think that how can I say it? Especially after being in like the quote unquote media business, I kind of understand like how, you know, like how things get like
Sensationalism.
exaggerated and
Yeah.
stuff. And so like I think some details are probably exaggerated because content creators have to get clicks. I understand how what that's like. And so um and there's I mean, I don't want to say too much, but I mean there are people even in my circle that exaggerate a lot, and not gonna say who or what, but like there's I'm sure it's the same way in the conspiracy realm as well, where things get exaggerated, unless like there are just facts, you know what I mean, like that are undeniable presented to you. But for me, I mean, I'm not really into UFOs and things like that too much. I'm more into the flat earth and like the Tartaria side of things. I think to me that's more fun. Um, and as far as like, bad guys running the world, I mean, I definitely think so because, and I wouldn't even call them bad guys. I think I mean, you just follow the money. I mean, like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
obviously people that have the most money are obviously running the world. That I don't see how that's a conspiracy. That's just facts. So, and I
yeah.
don't even think they're just bad people. They're just rich people that have power. So that's not a conspiracy in my opinion. That's just facts. And I'm sure they have a lot more authority than we yeah, we realized. So
Yeah, I
they
mean,
can do whatever
sometimes
they want, I'm sure. So it's like, okay,
I
that's
wonder if they are like dark wizards in a way, in that I could wonder if
oh,
they.
I'm sure they are. I mean, I'm sure they're super powerful, and maybe the reason why they're successful is because they have some esoteric knowledge. I thought about that too.
I
Yeah,
definitely think that they're
or at least a subsection of them surely does. But
yeah, not all of them, but I think some of them are for sure probably stealing people's light in some fashion. And
Yeah, I think all that's possible. But again, like I don't know if they're necessarily bad people. I mean, like, I'm like who am I to talk bad about somebody? Like I'm not perfect. So you know, so so that's just my opinion, but yeah.
yeah, what are your plans with your channel going forward? Like, do you have like for example, like I noticed a lot of your people are teaming up and doing those conferences, like Dahlia and like the Alex guy and stuff. Like it feels like they're they're doing kind of in-person workshops and stuff.
like
Like,
psychic abilities are going to become more readily almost available to teach. Is that what you're kind of
oh, I'm
the
asking if like, are you gonna try to get involved in that kind of thing or?
As far as me being a teacher goes, I don't know. That doesn't seem to be likely. So I guess I'll just continue to, you know, find cool information and share it, or just find cool people that are willing to come on my channel and just keep doing.
How do you find your powerful practitioners? Like, what's your main? Do you just search on Google all the time? So you come because some of the people you found are.
Honestly, it's like that's the weird part is I've always just been blessed with just connections on Facebook. Well, okay, how can I say this? Yeah, it's honestly, honestly, this is I don't know about you guys. You guys are probably experienced podcasters, but for me, I send out an email saying, "Hey, would you be interested in interviews?" Like most of the time, I'm ignored or
Mhm.
they just straight up reject me. But on social media, I don't know what it is, like Facebook, Instagram, and stuff. Like most of the time, people are just go like, "Oh yeah, you're cool. Like I'll do an interview with you." Like it's just I don't know. Like it's like I mean. Especially on Facebook back in the day in Facebook groups, like this was such a tight-knit circle that it was like easy to ask people like, hey, you want to do interviews and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. And I guess at some point like especially for me, like I mainly, like I would say my biggest topic is like ancient history stuff, like megalithic or like alternative ancient history theories is
Mhm.
kind of like more like what my focus and what a lot of the people I interview is about. But at that point, it's like once you get into the circle where you know it, like everybody knows about you too, and then I have people who reach out to me too, who are like, "Hey, you should interview this person, or you should interview this person," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Also, something that I was going to speak to too is that, one quote that was stuck out very powerfully to me too is when you're interviewing Steve Gray is when he was like, he said he channeled dragons, and I was like, okay, that to me that's like, oh shit, so it's stuff like in that range of the dragons and fairies are actually interdimensional beings inside of our matrix realm that are coexisting with us is anyway, yeah, I don't know where to
And
go.
we're both like like I'm a psychic in a different kind of way than most psychics. I'm a downloader. I get weird like
Well, you're very
planetary
yeah,
construction downloading, and then he's more of like a traditional
like
psychic.
telepathic.
Like he's able to like read people's fractal parts of their soul and stuff, and he can read individuals, and I'm more like I go to
More of like a
places
healer.
and I get like timeline corrections, and I understand like the mechanics of how the matrix we live in is working.
Mhm.
So anyway, like that's
So micro versus macro kind of, I feel, I'd say is
yes,
the
I guess
difference.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but so we kind of go around to all over the world. We've been to we just went to Japan actually.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
were
dude. That
we were in Japan
Japan's
for three
amazing.
weeks in
Which part?
well, we went
All
to
of it,
like a lot. Yeah,
except for Hokkaido,
we
but
did like a
most of it.
week in Okinawa, and then we did 2 weeks on the mainland, and we went to um like have you heard of Rock Ship or Ishinahoden? Like they're big giant
They're kind of like
megaliths there,
Japanese megaliths.
or there aren't
Sorry,
kind of
what's it called?
Ishinahoden, and then like one's called like the English version is Rock Ship. It's a masa. How do you say that word? I don't know.
I'm bored, but
It's
I don't
by
know.
Nara. It's
It's
by Nara, and that's
yeah,
where the ninja, like close to the waterfalls that the ninjas like
trained
used to
at
train started.
where ninjas started.
So I mean, like not that far. It's like a couple hours from Kyoto or whatever, but
Yeah.
um,
Oh, and Mia and like Iga and Koga, that area. You know what? Maybe you guys aren't familiar with that area.
yeah, I don't know
Oh.
about that
Oh,
name.
yeah, okay.
I
Well,
know
anyways, yeah,
Nara.
anyways,
Nara
yeah.
is
But
Nara.
you guys went to Japan. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And also Okinawa, which was
Yeah, which was really cool. They
that
have
was really
so many
cool.
star forts there, which is great.
Yeah.
is correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't I'm not a super expert into like megalith, but like in Okinawa, like deep in the ocean, isn't there um
Yeah.
like a
That's
what do you even call that? A
uh
temple that's like hidden in the ocean?
Yonaguni. It's in
Yonaguni,
Yonaguni.
yeah. What
They
is
say
that?
it's
Like
a
there's like
quarry.
stairs, right?
Yeah, there's stairs, there's all kinds of like, like
What is
90
that?
degrees,
What is that supposed to be or suspected to be a
like
temple?
a sunken city or a sunken
A
quarry.
sunken city?
Yeah.
Wow.
But like what else could it
That's
be? I mean, it was above ground at one point,
mm.
you know.
Have you do you guys look into Tartaria conspiracies at
Yeah,
all?
yeah, yeah.
Or yeah, that's the Star Fort thing. Yeah.
That's the
Super
Starfort thing. I'm
I'm
talking like
sorry,
the
the
Okinawa
what
fort.
now?
the Star Forts are super
The
I feel
Star
connected.
Forts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
connected to that.
You should look if you that's a lovely, lovely
Wait. I'm sorry. Star Forts
star
are
Fort.
connected to Tartaria?
Yeah, big time. You
Can
should
you
look up.
explain that to me? I'm
I would
just
love this.
curious.
I'm like, okay, I'm so excited. Yes.
Okay, so
Wait, 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 no, wait. I'm so excited. So Star Fort, you can go, and then I really want to explain
you
it
go
again.
first.
No, okay. So Star Forts are basically these how Tartaria existed is that it basically that dark wizards shifted the time frequency of our planet by instilling these megalithic structures to warp the frequency of the planet. Am I explaining this correctly?
No, but I mean, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay.
I mean,
But-
it's new to me. I'm
okay.
interested. Like,
Okay, yeah, yeah. So basically, these star forts are distorting and warping the space-time of the
realm.
actual realm that we're existing in. Um, and like you know how there's certain temples and stuff like when Freemasonry they're doing those cornerstones like they're so all these certain buildings like if you're looking also in America as an obvious example where you're looking at stuff like the Pentagon or you're looking at all these geometries that they're using and they're using these geometries that literally distorts the time space frequency of stuff and like you know this will go into the bells and how the bells used to have like they resonated at a different frequency and also if we're
They're
looking at
broken
then they're all
intentionally.
broken now or if you're looking at some of the churches that don't make sense. You can definitely speak to like the manufacturing of how some of these churches don't make sense and how these were used as like almost like healing things. But anyway, there's basically like been a Mandela effect structured onto our planet that's basically messed up the frequencies, and these star forts then act as like these node points that kind of mess with the how everything works on the planet according to the aurora and the trees and the mountains and the megaliths and all these different things. So
Oh, if that's like, is that theory that you've heard, or is that like one that you've surmised?
this is an theory, me
Oh, okay. See,
theory.
because like what I
Partial. I mean, it's partially. I mean,
factually what we do know
yeah.
about star
I did the
forts.
conspiracy stuff
Let's
now.
let's just start there. They're all over the world. There's one in New Mexico. They're like in Florida. They're this like when you look from them on an aerial view. If you look at it on Google Earth, if you just put in star fort anyway, they're it's they look like stars, and no two star forts anywhere in the world are alike. They're all over Europe. They're all over Japan. This that the highest concentration of star forts is in Okinawa, Japan. There are some like I don't know even know how many. We went to about 10, but there's way more than that. Like there and a lot of them are not even excavated yet. They're just kind of left in shambles. And So a lot of them are, they claim that they were built in like medieval times, or in the US they'll say like, oh, they were built during the 1800s. There's not no like even look. So for instance, we went to the one in New Mexico, which is just a
Mhm.
4 point star when you look from it from the ground down, and it's they don't have any, the museum is, it's at another military fort, and it's all about the other barracks that were built, and they don't talk anything about the star fort. They don't talk about its design, its construction. Nobody ever talks about the architectural elements, why they chose to build them this way, or what their functionality really was or wasn't. Like, yeah, I've heard traditional historians say things like, oh, it was for good defense points to go off to one of the corners of the star
Yeah, they
to
make it
shoot
like a
off
3D
arrows or this
thing.
or that. But it is a bizarre element that's just the constructual design that's cross-cultural all around the world, and then we're just supposed to accept them at face value with no explanation of what they were for, why they were there, and like who actually built them. And so anyway, like a lot of people in conspiracy world think that they are part of the Tartarian civilization, or before we were reset, whatever that civilization was called, they were
Mhm.
part of the pre-reset civilization.
Yeah.
So there's that. On it, that's just
So kind
on
of
it.
all that, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, yeah, I always learn new theories and new concepts, and there's so many cool stuff out there. There's just, yeah, I love
There
this
is.
Yeah.
subject, it's just there's so much cool stuff out there. So,
Yeah.
Well, and like I'm really into Inner Earth and like Agartha and Shambhala. Have you had anybody ever talk about like the Inner Earth stuff?
Yeah.
yeah, plenty of times.
Yeah. Have you heard
I mean,
stories of
I
like
heard so many different theories on what's below us. Yeah, but I don't know. I've never encountered angels, UFOs, aliens, spirits. I've had nothing. So
Hmm.
yeah, but I have had telekinesis experience. That's about it. So yeah.
What about
So pretty
telepathy?
boring.
yeah, telepathy, right?
Oh, no, no, yes, I have. Yes, yes. Speaking of Dahlia, yes, with her daughter, yes.
Oh,
Oh,
she read your
Okay,
mind
so
like
I was at a Zoom class with the school, and Lilu was there, and I just did an experiment. I was like, Lilu, can you hear me? And then Lilu starts going like this, and then I was like, oh, she's doing something interesting. And then like Dahlia tells me like, uh, when the Zoom ended, like, when we got on Facebook Messenger or whatever, she's just like, yeah, Lilu heard you or something. I was like, what? So yeah.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
so but can I do telepathy? No. No,
Yeah. But you
absolutely
know
not.
it's real though.
I'm
You know you've experienced it is the isn't
yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
there's people that can do it, but I don't have the ability to receive it or anything like that. I'm
Mm.
very any of this stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, I think, do you think that this stuff, like the psychic abilities or the spiritual paranormal stuff, is going to increase with time, or do you think it just always has been and it just is what it is?
honestly, I think there is a big chance that I mean, so just to let you guys know, like when I started this telekinesis like media work 5 years ago, um, so there was hardly anybody on TikTok or Instagram. Now, like, hit guys like Jesus the Phoenix, DWG, and um, you know, uh Taylor and like all these guys, forgetting a couple other names, but like these big names, people with over like 100,000 like followers, that didn't exist, a couple, 5 years ago, like during COVID, it didn't exist. So yeah, this telekinesis field, this like psychic superpower field has came a long way. And it's exciting, like in another 5, like, maybe right now there's about 10 or so, I believe, but maybe there's gonna be a, 100, and maybe these guys, these pioneers right now on Insta and TikTok, maybe they're gonna have like 1 million followers, and by the time they're like, in another 5 or 10, I mean, I don't know, maybe, yeah, because at that point, like, they're known, they're not quite Mr. Beast, but you know what I mean? But if
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
10 guys that are like, combined total, like have the same following as Mr. Beast, I mean, that's pretty good. So, yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think in mathematically speaking, I think in 5, 10, 15 years, like it could potentially become pretty mainstream. I mean, like look at like Wim Hof. I mean, like athletes do Wim Hof now. And back in the day,
Right.
people laughed at Wim Hof. People said this guy's a scammer and stuff. I mean, like holistic health is like pretty much generally accepted by athletes and stuff. People, guys, athletes meditate now. It's pretty normal. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think it's possible that telekinesis or mindsight or you know, like aerokinesis, like whatever, all this stuff can be mainstream and man, we could be living in a completely different world in like
Yeah.
10, 20
Well,
years.
and
I mean,
if
now I don't know whether that's good or bad. I don't know, but I think we could be living in a completely different like
well, and I think
paradigm.
if you, it's like the 100th monkey, because like if you had 100 followers of, well, okay, if now there's like let's say whatever, Dalia, let's say that there's maybe a couple thousand people following. Okay, cool. But then, like, let's say in 10 years there's 1 million. That's like, imagine how many people might actually get activated in ways. It's like when you also change the belief structure of what your society is capable of. I think you lift the limitations of the cap of people's abilities. A lot of times I think we're kind of in a limitation construct. Like we're told like this is how it is, so this is how it is. And if you kind of lift that bar a little differently, I think there will be people that will be able to do things that they never have been, that we don't even know yet.
With this being said, though, I mean, I will say this as far as, and I'm speaking only for the telekinesis industry, I will say this. We do need to step up our game because like people have been stuck on sty wheels for a very, very long time. There's actually a very new research that's coming out and I'm interviewing a guy on Saturday. Saturday, yeah, I think it's Saturday from Germany. He's got some new research on telekinesis and that might open people's eyes on like how this is all done, um, and how telekinesis really works.
I've
And
been liking that
there's,
pencil test lately, like the one
I'm,
where
I'm
they,
Pencil
sorry.
sticking, like
the
pen.
pencil sticking test, or like the sticking
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. That's I don't know what they call that. I don't know if that's telekinesis or not,
Yeah,
but I mean, as far as like moving objects with your mind,
to mine.
yeah, like I mean, because I'm just speaking from experience. I've seen footages from 15 years ago. Not much progression has been unfortunately made. So
Right.
I don't know if that's I mean it's a deep subject because there are masters that are like John Chang that can like really do the real stuff, but they know like underground, they have access to real ancient knowledge, and that's why they can do this stuff. But guys like us who don't really have ancient knowledge, I mean, it's hard for us to pull it off. I mean, you can join like these certain Nigong schools and like you can do some stuff in 10 years, but it's hard to pull off like real telekinesis. I mean, like the psi wheel stuff, anybody can do it, but it just seems like that's the current limitation. But maybe Mr. Stefan can break that paradigm. That's what he's all about. He's like, I'm breaking this paradigm. I'm finally gonna take this, field to the next level, and he's motivated and I respect him for that. So
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely think once we have this 100th monkey effect that happens, it will reshape the consciousness slowly and slowly and slowly because we're having so many, I think, structured belief systems in our world right now where it's like we have all the religions and all these, everyone's then or like hardcore atheist sort of things. Like everyone has these hardcore belief structures, and if you like slowly sort of unravel that, it will be, I think, akin to the 4 Minute Mile where it was impossible
Right.
and inconceivable, and then once someone did it, it just kept triggering. And now it's like it's crazy. People are hitting like 320 miles. Like it's gonna be
Right,
something
right.
like that where I think that we're gonna see some absurdist progression. And especially because there are these practitioners who, allegorically can run 4 minutes and then everyone's stuck doing like 8-minute miles. It's like once it starts just breaking that paradigm, it will slowly, topple over, I think. And, with psychic healing, I think will be a huge avenue to like psionic healing. And then also obviously like the ability aspect of it, the just overall omniscience and levels of like, yeah, moving objects or all these things, telepathy, all this I think um, will slowly transpire.
I agree.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Someone just, Stefan and I were talking, and he was saying like we just need it just takes one guy that can like take it to the next level to for us to you
No,
know
it's possible.
know it's possible for us to get to that next level. And I think for me, I think I kind of foresee the future and how that's going to play out. I think it's going to take one underground practitioner that's practicing an ancient lineage that's going to come out and just say, hey, that's going to go to one of these seminars or something like that and say, hey, do this. And then everybody does what he's doing. And then boom, it's like we stepped our game up. No more side wheels. So
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm hoping for personally. But if not, no big deal.
do
But
you think that a lot of these ancient lineages did know how to do a lot of this stuff, and then it's been for like, I know that how many Taoists were killed during the Chinese
Oh
thing?
yeah, when we were
Like,
talking about like, in communist China where all these practitioners were killed, or like, you go through the Inquisitions, you go through the Islamic caliphates of killing off all like the Sufis and stuff, and then they had to become Sufi, or like all these different versions of it. How many were killed in China is what you're
or no,
asking?
I'm asking, like, do you think
Like
there
even
aren't like
recently.
a lot of underground sects that still know like the ancient stuff, but it's just been lost to the public because of how they were persecuted? Like, do you think it's like some of the knowledge was kept, or do you think they really did kind of eliminate everyone?
there's definitely knowledge left, 100%. I mean, like Mopai still exists, and that not anybody can just go there and join, but it exists. Um, It exists. I mean, like, you mentioned Steve Gray. I mean, like, and really, I mean, it's no secret. I mean, Steve was the best ambassador of the Tian Shan lineage. I mean, it exists. The real stuff exists, and but it's hard to access. But there are, like the Nigong, there's only like five main Nigong schools really out there, and I mean, yeah, they're out there and they're teaching the real underground stuff. But the thing is, like, they don't really show off. Like, they're
Yeah,
very
they're not
closed.
trying to get eyes on.
Like I shouldn't. Well, can I mention? I mean, I'm sure it's okay. I mean, because yeah, why not? I mean, guys like Damo, guys like Wang Liping, like, I heard guys like Nathan Bryan. I hear stories about them, like from inner door students, like, but they don't show off. But like, I hear stories, like they're,
Yeah.
like,
Or like
but I mean, like I said, it's good. It just takes like guys like them to come out and do this stuff. Like I said, in Stefan seminar or something to, really take it to the next level, and to
well,
for the
I have
hundredth monkey effect to occur. So.
I can tell people how to find you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my channel is called Ken Studying Psychic Abilities, and that's on YouTube. And aside from YouTube, I'm on Instagram and also on Facebook. It's called Energy Apprentice Ken. That's what I go by. Um, so
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.